This is the face of the Black Hawk pilot that crashed into the plane in DC. She is named Captain Rebecca Lobach. This is what happened that day. She was piloting the Black Hawk and crashed into a plane over the DC airport, over the river before the airport, and killed 67 people. Families deserve answers. She is basically becoming the greatest scandal in aviation history right now. She was an aide to Joe Biden. She had a short amount of flying hours and was still in training. She was recruited by a Lebanese handler and she has no FAA medical certificate. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is what happened that day.
Fairfax 1, I need you to land immediately.
Fairfax 1, understand, land immediately, looking for a field.
Up 6, go ahead.
This is very much terrifying. This pilot had no right to be in this air zone in front of the plane at the moment of the crash. Let's hear the latest news about this to understand what happened, and then I will give you my thoughts on it.
Tonight, crews on the chilly Potomac River are battling gusty winds as cleanup and recovery efforts enter a second day. U.S. officials say they have recovered the bodies of both pilots from the wreckage of the Black Hawk helicopter. The NTSB working to access that chopper yesterday. The NTSB tonight with new details about that American Airlines flight before the collision.
The CRJ was operating at 325 feet, plus or minus 25.
In all, 67 lives were lost in the accident. The 64 passengers and crew aboard that American Airlines flight and the 3 soldiers in the Black Hawk. 3 people died aboard that helicopter: 28-year-old Ryan Austin O'Hara, 39-year-old Andrew Lloyd Eves, and Rebecca Lobach, her family remembering her as a bright star in all our lives. Investigators recreating the final minutes leading up to that mid-air crash before that American Airlines flight started its descent. At 8:43 p.m., the jet's pilots told to land on a shorter runway. That Black Hawk helicopter now also making its way up the Potomac River. At 8:46, 2 minutes before the collision, air traffic control telling the helicopter about the American Airlines plane coming in for a landing from the south on runway 33. At roughly 8:48, asking the Black Hawk pilots to again confirm they see the jet. You can hear the alarm go off as they ask the Black Hawk, "Do you see that jet?"
S25, CRJ in flight. S25, pass on is CRJ.
S12 has an aircraft in flight, precedent separation.
Seconds later, the collision.
32017.
The NTSB saying they interviewed the air traffic controller heard in the final seconds leading up to the worst plane crash in decades. The FAA saying in a statement that Reagan National Airport has 25 air traffic controllers with 3 more in training, with a full staff of 28. And this video from 2022, our affiliate WJLA speaking with sisters 11-year-old Lydia and 14-year-old Everly Livingston.
How much fun do you have here with your sister?
A lot. It's really fun to have.
This is a very sad story, honestly. You can hear that the ATC tower asked if they had a plane inside or not, and they basically said yes, but still basically crash into the plane seconds afterward. This is insane to me, that you can basically fly the helicopter all this time. That's over a minute. And not see the plane coming down to land on the runway and basically crashing into it. This is sad, honestly. I don't know what happened. I don't know why Captain Rebecca Lobach crashed that Black Hawk into the plane. The investigation is still going on right now. What is sure, it is that she was still in training, that she had no place being in this airspace at that time, and something definitely went wrong. Rebecca was still in Air OTC training in 2018, and she was flying government continuity mission in a Black Hawk in DC 6 years later as a captain. That makes no sense to me at all. How did she afford a $500,000 house 2 years into the military? They are definitely lying to us. Some information is still required to understand everything that happened. Was she a lesbian DEI hire? We don't know yet. but this may be the case. What it is sure is that everybody tried to delete her social media. All her social media was completely scrubbed, and from the family as well. They did not want to face any backlash for this crash, so they deleted all of their online presence. That's why her name was basically hidden the whole time for a couple of days. From the day of the crash up to now, her name was not revealed, it was hidden because the family requested it. And in that time, they basically deleted all of social media, all of her presence online. And it seems that she was an activist, that she was a lesbian denier, that she took the position to defend Biden administration and Kamala Harris and basically bash what Donald Trump is doing right now, separating competence skills with DEI hiring policies. Let's hear from this expert to understand a little bit more what could have happened.
3 different things happen. First of all, they only had a crew of 3. And if you're flying a visual flight plan in a crowded airspace like this, they really should have had 2 crew chiefs in the back of the helicopter to clear each side, as the pilots only have visibility from straight ahead 12 to 3 o'clock, or 12 from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So you only have visibility of the front 180 degrees. Your crew chiefs clear the back. If you only have 1 crew chief, how much can you clear? The second one is, it is, whether they were on night vision goggles at that time or not, it is a very cluttered airspace with a lot of lighting and the lights reflecting on the river. And so with that, it's easy to kind of get a little disoriented as far as the height. They were supposed to be at 200 feet, which is the helicopter routing in that area, and it wouldn't have been a conflict. But they were not at 200 feet. Obviously, reportedly, the incident happened at around 350 to 400 feet as the airliner was descending. So that they were at the wrong height. So that's a pilot error. The first would be a policy error or choice. And then the third is air traffic control said, do you have the CRJ in sight? Well, there were two aircraft in their field of view, and actually only one was really obvious to them. And that was if you watch the video, the aircraft taking off in the foreground is probably the one they were facing, the pilots were facing, and said, yeah, I got it. The air traffic control should have said, do you have the aircraft at 5 o'clock? So they were looking at the rear. If they had done that, the Black Hawk is maneuverable. The Black Hawk could have moved out of the way quickly. They can move on a dime and make that happen.
It is a very, very sad story, honestly. It is very, very sad. My heart goes out to all the families that are suffering now, to all the families of the victim of this crash. It is sad that this has happened. What we have to do right now is to understand exactly what happened, continue on with the investigation, and try to do better next time. Basically, fix all of the mistakes that she was recalling in this video. The lighting right there. The sky should be clear. There should not be any kind of light pollution right there in this region. I think it is a very dangerous region with tons of planes that are flying around, coming into the runway and out of the runway, and plane flying over the river, over the city as well. So the sky should definitely be clear in this region. There should definitely be a policy change to understand why she was being able to drive this Black Hawk over the river at such an altitude with all of this in mind, with no medical certificate, with a short amount of flying hours, being still in training in basically a very dangerous zone where many planes are flying at night and during the day as well. This is definitely a policy that needs to be changed in the Army, maybe, in the FAA as well. And then we have to change the ATC. The ATC hiring policy, the ATC training probably as well, so that they can get the information to all the pilots that would be needed to avoid any kind of crash, any kind of collision in this region. Hopefully they are able to fix all of the mistakes to avoid such kind of catastrophe to happen in the future. Honestly, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm not sure 100% why they would have let such a young lady in charge of flying a military Black Hawk over such a dangerous zone while still in training and basically not pay attention to what is in front of the helicopter at the time. It is sad what has happened here in this tragedy. Hopefully they change. Hopefully they are able to fix the mistakes. And hopefully this catastrophical event will not be happening in the future ever again. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video with me today. Click right there to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Bye bye.